Dr. Thomas Pangle is a professor of government at the University of Texas, where he holds the Joe R. Long Endowed Chair in Democratic Studies and is the co-director of the Thoms Jefferson Center for the Study of Core Texts and Ideas. Professor Pangle sits down with the Miller Center's Mike DeShays to discuss the Jefferson Center's mission at the University of Texas in Austin.
Professor Pangle, tell us about your program.
The program is called the Thoms Jefferson Center for the Study of Core Texts and Ideas. And at the heart of our mission is a new undergraduate program in the great books and the great ideas in the great books. And the program is aimed to give a civic education that's centered on the great books, with one cornerstone, the American founding period and the debates over the ratification of the Constitution and what informed those debates and the subsequent legacy.
What are some of the benefits of that interinstitutional alliance that you've built?
Well, it's from the point of view of the students we're attracting, it's one of the few programs we hope that will really bring together students from all across the university and will break down some of the artificial barriers that have emerged kind of naturally over the years between the different colleges. But also it's going to give students outside the liberal arts college an opportunity, if they're in business or in engineering or in nursing, to take a coherent set of courses to make up a minor that will allow them to graduate with a certificate in the great books.
So you developed your program really in a short period of time, right?
Well, yes. Actually, we were in the planning stage for quite a long time, 4 or 5 years. But we really got the program launched and we got our center status only last January. It was really getting the status as a center that gave us the institutional foundation and recognition within the university that has allowed us to launch this autumn, this semester, for the first time, the full range of our courses and offerings.
Talk a little bit about the strategies you've used to develop your program.
Well, very important has been getting the cooperation of faculty in many different departments. That has really involved a lot of sitting down one-on-one over coffee with individual members of the faculty, explaining to them what is distinctive about what we're doing, that we want the students to be studying the great books and directly, not textbooks about them, and we want them to be studying and wrestling with and arguing over the ideas in the great books of literature, of philosophy, of government, of science, and that we're not interested in presenting a single dogmatic line or some kind of ideological outlook, but we want to stress the arguments, the controversies, the enduring questions, and the different answers to those fundamental questions.
Professor Pangle, talk a little bit about your plans to sustain and increase your program offerings in the future.
We've built up now a pretty good cadre of faculty, many of whose courses are cross-listed with us. And what that means is they have decided to offer a course in, say, the philosophy department or the government department or the English department, which will meet our requirements, that it focuses on major first-hand texts and that it discusses the ideas in those texts, and that they have set aside a block of seats for the students in our program. We're working in conjunction with existing courses or changing those courses somewhat so that there'll be a program that is not just within our center but is permeating and influencing and being influenced by other departments. And crucial to our whole enterprise is our teaching postdoctoral fellows, 2 of whom are supported by the Jack Miller Center, and 2 others we have that are supported by foundations in Texas.
Discuss how the Jack Miller Center supports your program to strengthen education in America's founding principles and history.
Yes, the 2 postdocs who have been supported for us by the Jack Miller Center are teaching in 2 of our 4 required courses. One of those is a course on the American founding, centered on the debates over ratification of the Constitution between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, but also exploring the sources they were drawing on in previous political thinking and political history, and looking to the legacy up through Lincoln, the Civil War, the Progressive period.
Professor Pangle, could you touch on the philosophical pillars you used in the approach of bringing students together in discussion and disagreements through civil discourse?
One of our main missions, as we see it, is in teaching these great books and the ideas in them to bring out very much the controversies, the arguments, the disagreements. Of course, they're important agreements as well, but often the importance of the agreements emerges only after you've seen them in argument and see where they agree and where they disagree. And we want the students to both see in the books and in the authors the way in which great minds can engage in respectful but deep disagreement. And then in our classroom teaching to try to draw the students into that kind of discussion and argument so that students really get some experience in seeing that argument over fundamental questions of ethics, of politics, of philosophy, of religion does not have to be hostile in order to be vigorous.
How does that approach tie back to America's founding principles and history?
Well, I think the American founding was the product of a great debate between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, proponents and opponents of this new Constitution, who thrashed out some very big issues in a very intelligent way, and the argument led to major modifications of our Constitution. The Bill of Rights, of course, was a set of amendments to the original Constitution, which came about because the Anti-Federalists, the opponents, were just not satisfied. And the resulting product was something better than either side probably would have produced on their own, especially if they hadn't been challenged by thoughtful opponents who compelled them to think through better what it was they were trying to do.
What excited you about the Jack Miller Center helping you with your program?
Well, the Jack Miller Center has been, the biggest help has been in funding our postdoctoral fellows. But there's also been a lot of help in terms of advice and consultation, and maybe almost as important as anything is bringing us together in meetings in the summer here in Philadelphia now in the fall, where we get a chance to meet, talk with, exchange ideas with, get critical responses from other people at other campuses whose experiences are different, because every campus is different, but from whom we have a lot to learn about how to go ahead with this kind of initiative.
Professor Pangle, describe how the Jack Miller Center is helping you with your program in a way that is nonpartisan.
Well, yeah, the Miller Center's concern has been to help us with our Great Books program, but to encourage us strongly, and we've welcomed that because it fits our view too, to make the American founding and the fundamental principles of the American regime and the arguments and disagreements as well as agreements among the founders a very important part of our program. And that's political only in the sense that it's the foundation of our political life. It's not at all either left or right or Republican or Democratic. It's something that I think meets with enthusiasm from people of all political stripes who want young people to know more about our foundations.
Professor Pangle, thank you very much for your time.
This has been a Jack Miller Center digital media presentation. For more information, visit thejackmillercenter.org.